I feel good.
Let's get focused. Well, that was one of the drivers behind the momentum operating system, and looking at what we're sort of experimenting with right now, which is the Michelin production process and the Michelin management method, was exactly what you're saying. There's these really phenomenal frameworks out there like EOS and Agile Scrum that they work. They absolutely work. But when you start approaching things more holistically, or from a continuous improvement standpoint, from an organizational development and scaling standpoint, you see that they begin to crumble, and you almost need everyone to be certified in this thing in order for it to be implemented across the organization. And that's something that we struggled with inside of Projection when we first launched.
And I would argue they don't need to be certified as much as they need to buy in.
Well, yeah, that's it. But when you look at the buy-in is a certification.
Right. Right. Okay. I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying, but the reason I feel strongly, or I made that comment, is because there's a lot of people out there that get certified just so they can have the 3 letters next to their name, just so they can
Sure.
have those,
Of course.
whatever, that little whatever next to their name, so they can get an extra paycheck. And I get that, but there's a need beyond money for everybody that gets those letters next to their name.
Well, same thing
Right.
with an MBA, right? You can get your MBA, add it to your name, get the paycheck, but then not really believe in anything that you've learned.
But I truly believe that everybody that has those letters, I have a bunch of letters next to my name. You have a bunch of letters next to your name, right? Before and after for both of us, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Yes, we like those letters, but you know what I like more than the letters and the money, is the fact that I earned this and I know what to do with it and how it can be applied. Let's say you are a doctor. Let's say you're an MD and you practice medicine. And I'm not saying that we're saving lives here, okay? But let's say that you're an MD and you know that being an MD, there are certain things you're supposed to do, certain things you're supposed to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And certain things you would say to a patient and certain things you will not say. And if you see another MD, somebody else with those letters next to their name, say something that completely contradicts the Hippocratic Oath, right? Or contradicts the way you know that this is not the right thing to tell to a patient, that's going to bother you. And I feel like that's where I'm at. And I know that the medical doctor thing it's a little too, but I do feel a sense of responsibility that if I'm teaching you something, you need to trust me that it's the right thing for you. Otherwise, why would you listen to me again?
Yeah, and I think that's the difference between people that do information, education, and knowledge, right? And knowledge is the aspect that you can implement immediately, and you really understand it. You understand the application of it. And oftentimes the guys that don't really care about the certification or getting the letters, because they want to leverage that information to make that improvement. And that was one of the really refreshing things about working with Scott Cunningham on that project, was that he was a knowledge guy. I mean, he understood, and he would host workshops, and he was really trying to make the organization better. And it was just so fantastic to see. And it was so refreshing coming from other industries or businesses where they know enough to keep everything running, keeping everything afloat. It's like, well, yeah, but what is the point? Or I don't want to keep doing the same thing again and again and again. I'd like to be a part of an organization where things are literally continuously improving, and that you know that you're building a legacy, and that when you leave, everything is better, that everyone's lives are better, that they're getting access to better training, that the organization is going to continue to grow. And I think that that's a really pivotal thing about being a part of a team, is that you don't want to be a part of a team that just, it's like being a part of a book club where every year they read the same book.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you be a part of that book club?
Yeah. I mean, what did we learn? What did we miss the first 7 times we read this?
Yeah. And so, and a lot of that goes back to, again, ego, culture, and creating an alignment where you have team members that they're interested in growing, they're interested in getting better, they're interested in performing. And not everybody wants that. And I think that it's important for young professionals, or just professionals in general, to identify when they're job seeking, when they're going out and they're doing interviews, asking those questions. Can you describe the culture of the team? What are the personalities of some of the team members? And also understanding what type of culture do you want to work in? Because I had an opportunity back in the day. I was talking to one of my mentors, and they said, yes, you can get a job at Amazon, you can get a job at Meta, you can get a job at Google, and they're going to pay really, really, really well. And it's going to really pave the way in the future. But do you understand that you're on call essentially 24/7? Like, there is no ever taking a day off. Like, you're expected to have your laptop with you. He goes, there's a reason why they pay that much. It's the same thing, I think, at Netflix has that culture. They hire top tier talent. They pay them incredibly well, but they basically expect them to be on call and or working just 24/7. And they burn through talent, and they know that they have this high churn rate.
And Tesla's the same way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. They produce.
Twitter is the same way.
That's their culture.
Yeah.
And so really, but then, you have the opposite culture where you don't really get paid well. You're not really working on anything interesting. No one's really engaged, and every day is the same.
And there's those unicorns out there, right? There's those
Sure.
companies that they pay well, they
Yeah.
treat you well. There's a few of them out there. They're not as many as we'd like to talk about, that's for sure. But they seem to have not only sustained a model that just continues to grow and continues to make it through tough times, like right now economically, right? So they find a way to continue that. And I mean, you talked about Amazon. There are divisions of Amazon that are just wonderful to work for.
I was just going to say, I have colleagues that work at Amazon, and they do nothing but, shout them out. And, because you're looking at certain sectors of Amazon, right? Obviously not
certain sectors. Absolutely.
Not obviously not like the people working in the fulfillment centers or the drivers, but we're talking about the guys that work in safety, the guys that work in, some of these roles and some of these sections of Amazon where they don't want to burn that person out. They want to hang on to them long term, to that individual to grow with the company. And they're getting equity. They have incredible work-life balance. Their degrees are getting paid for. They have all these certifications to the point where they could leave Amazon and make more money. But, they've told me, like, I don't know why I would leave.
Yeah. It's funny. You mentioned Netflix. I don't know any one person, and I may not know a lot of people at that point that work for Netflix, but so far it's been 100% rating. Like, nobody talks bad about working for Netflix.
Yeah, and when you pay them enough, why would
you pay them enough and you treat them well enough. There is a trade-off, right? There is a trade-off. Be available. I might call you on a weekend. Might have to come in on a weekend.
Yeah.
But you don't hear a lot of negative stories coming out of Netflix.
Sure.
Now, every place has its good and the bad, right? I am sure, you and I were at one point working somewhere where we were the star of where we're working, but also other places we were not so well, but everybody else loved where they're working, or they didn't have the same complaint. It happens. Sometimes it's just not the right fit. And it goes back to, when I used to interview people for building a team and growing a team. And sometimes we have like some of the smartest people in the industry and the most impressive degrees and certifications and credentials. I would look at the person after we've met, and I have my team with me, and I said, that's not him, or that's not her. That's not the right person. As a matter of fact, I remember this one project manager. I was so impressed with her, and I really wanted to bring her on so badly. And I remember my boss really wanted to bring her on so badly. And I said, she's not the right one. She's not the right one for our team. She's just not the right one for our team. She's too good for our team.
Yeah, in some cases.
Sometimes she's just too good for our team.
Yeah, in some cases.
You can't put a Ferrari engine in a tractor.
Yep. I've told some candidates that apply for positions here, I go, I just don't think that we're going to be able to provide the value that you're looking for, or for where you're at in your career and, where you're coming from. Like, I know that this seems like an interesting position, but we just don't have the workload, or we're not going to work at the rate that's going to get you where you want to go long-term in your career.
Sometimes it's the culture too. The personality of the person doesn't fit the team culture.
We've had a lot of that. Yeah. Where it's like in the interview, it's like pulling teeth with them. It's like, dude, I can't hold your hand in every conversation. Like, if you're not going to speak up in an interview, when I say, do you have any questions? And they go, no. I go, that's a massive red flag. Like, because you're telling me there's not a single question that you have about this like wild thing that we have going on, all of our projects and our company.
So I have like two quick stories about that.
Sure.
One of the interviews that I had, it's one of my favorite stories ever. We had this one guy come in. We tried to interview for another designer, and this guy comes in, funny, knows his stuff, great design. His flaw was this. He looked at me. We're a panel. He looked at me, and at that time I was a lot heavier. I'm still heavier now, but I was a lot heavier back then. And he made the comment and pointed to my gut more than once and said, "Big guy."
That's wild.
Which I didn't. A lot of my friends at that time thought I was being personal and sensitive.
Sure.
Now, I can be sensitive, but I wasn't. That was not the reason I rejected him. The reason was, and I said, now, this role is going to require you to be in front of executives and stakeholders. Will you be able to maintain your
composure,
jokes, and maintain your composure, and make sure you say the right things. And he said, well, hold on. If I'm ever in front of somebody that's important, that has an important role, blah, 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 I would be very careful with what I say. I'd be very
How
careful what comes out of my
disrespectful.
mouth. And everybody just shook their heads like, yeah, see, he gave the right answer. And I said, well, I'm important.
Are we not important? Literally,
Like, I'm
that's what he's
interviewing you
saying.
for this job.
Yeah.
I'm the director of this
Yeah.
department.
Well, you're not important. Yeah. What a
So,
wild answer.
you could tell that like the thing shifted completely. And I usually don't like to make people uncomfortable in an interview,
Sure.
but it was one of those things where like I like to call people on their bullshit.
Yeah. It's
That's
so
funny.
true.
Because I expect you to call me on my bullshit.
Yeah.
So I'm authentic. I'm real. I'm raw. I say what comes to my mind. I do sometimes hold back given the room or the environment that we're in, but I'm not going to lie. If you tell me, do I look good in this shirt, for example, I'm not going to, if I think you look like shit, I'm not going to say like, oh, you look great.
Yeah. Just be like,
You
I wouldn't
know,
go with that one.
I'm just going to smile like,
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it or something. I'll find something diplomatic to say at that time. Or sometimes if I know you want, it's like, no, I don't like you in this shirt. You don't look, flowery shirts just don't look good on you, Phelan.
Do you find that you have to take that approach with Agile as well, where you have to have like some level of diplomacy? Yeah.
I have this, I have this philosophy where you basically, it's kind of like a frequency. You have to dial into the frequency to the person that you're talking to. Everybody operates at a different frequency.
Sure.
If I'm selling Agile to an engineer or a developer, they need to understand why what I'm selling them or I'm saying to them is good for them. Not here to teach you how to code or develop or engineer or release. I'm here to tell you best practice that will make your job better. If I'm talking to an executive, I'm not here to sell you on engineering practices. I'm here to talk to you about portfolio management bottom line and how can you get a faster delivery to the market so you can get faster feedback to get faster return on investment and faster ability to pivot if you need to, and so on and so on. If I'm talking to a business analyst and they say, well, I don't have a role in Agile, Scrum doesn't have business analysts. And I would say, well, you probably could be a very good product owner. I probably need you to be a product owner. Who's going to know more about the product than you? We just need to tune the way you write your requirements into user stories. That's all. So you just have to dial into their frequency. That's how I believe.
Okay. So what's your ultimate goal with Agile? I mean, if there was, I know you've got a few things going on.
So I feel the responsibility to fix bad Agile there, and it starts with knowledge. It starts with this conversation. Some of the taglines that I use, and they're, yes, I research what sounds good, but it's actually how I believe. I just wanted to make sure I say it the correct way, and that is, Agile is not broken. We are. We really are. One of the Tech Alley events that I did, I asked people, does anybody here know Agile? And they didn't know what I was talking about. And I said, do you do stand-ups? Do you do backlog refinement? Do you do sizing? And I realized almost everybody in the room knows exactly what I was talking about. They just didn't know that it was called Agile. They didn't even know that they had to say so and how it's supposed to work. So that's number one. Agile is not broken. We are. Frameworks are supposed to work for you, not the other way around. So it's that mentality that put me in a position to say, that can teach you Agile the right way. So I give courses on SAFe. I'm allowed to give courses on SAFe. I certify people in the field, whether it's Scrum Master, Product Owner, almost every certification there is available under SAFe. I'm an advanced SAFe practice consultant, which is the second highest in SAFe. So I offer certification classes, but I also offer cohorts. We were talking earlier about business analysts, people grow into the right role. You asked me, how do you know that you go from Scrum Master to Agile Coach? Well, how does that look like? Taking those cohorts helps you with that. So we have 3 tiers where you learn about SAFe and Agile, you learn how it works in teams, and you learn how to be a Scrum Master. That's the natural progression. If you come in and take a class to be product manager right out the gate, okay, what do you know about everything else? Now, I am inclined to give those courses for people that ask for it, but I'm not going to feel good about it. And I'm probably going to try to talk you out of it. My first question is going to say, how many of them know Agile? How many of them know SAFe? How many of them understand anything that they're about to do? Because otherwise, I'm just certifying you and I'm overloading with information that you're never going to use and it's a waste of money. I don't feel comfortable with that. I want you to implement it correctly. I don't want this to be a waste of time for you. So the reason for the cohorts is for you to start off correctly, continue growing correctly, lead correctly.
Yeah, I think a lot of practitioners, they don't really understand. They know that they should go get the certification, that it would be helpful. They may not have an actual idea of why they want to get it or what they want to do with it. right? And
Yes.
what kind of changes that they'd like to make to their organization. They just say, I'll get certified and then we'll try to implement this thing so we all use it. It's like, but why are you looking at adopting this thing? Because you're not going to adopt it 100%. So, even if you get 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% adoption, what is the ultimate thing that you're trying to solve in the organization?
Why are we here and why are we doing this? That's one of my favorite people in the world,
Yep.
Sajan Pennikar, one of my best friends who I actually started Desperate Radio with. He always said that every class we taught together, I need you all to ask yourself, why are we here and why are we doing this? There's a lot of people also right now in this economic fluctuating dynamic weather that we're in right now,
Yeah.
that there's a lot of uncertainty and they don't know what to do. They're coming out of, whether they're coming out of government, armed services, whatever the case may be, and they don't have the money to spend, or they don't have the knowledge or where to even begin. And that's where operational agility comes in really handy,
Mhm.
because it's my own program. You do get certified. You do end up having a certification with it. I do issue a certification for you to take and say, I understand Agile, I understand concepts, and I can apply it to wherever you want me to apply it to.
Smart.
And that's what I really, so I got feedback from folks where I said, if I wish there was something for the workforce program that just starting out. And to me, this was it.
Yeah.
So, and I really, it's around that time that I created that I met you and you start talking about MOS. And I'm like, this makes sense. It's the same. That's why I like people that think the same way that I do.
Yeah. There's a need for it, right? And
Yeah.
we're both kind of designing a framework that is similar in the sense
that works for people.
Yeah.
A framework that works for people, not for people to work for.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about your pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Is that it's designed to be basically a people first, where it's not overly complex. It's designed to make things more simple for people to be able to manage. How do we strip it? How do we give structure and clarity and just simplify everything as much as possible? So yeah, I'm excited to learn more about, what you're building and what you have going on. And, I've got some updates that we'll talk about tomorrow over coffee regarding like the Momentum operating system and some of the other tools that we're building. So it's good. It not only is there obviously a need that we see, but there's also partners that agree that, okay, this would be a framework that would be beneficial for partnerships and just businesses in general. So
I can't wait. And I really, I gotta tell you, aside from the business stuff that you do, your online presence is very noticeable on LinkedIn, and you are a dream for a lot of people that I used to work with or continually to work with. You are a good leader, in my opinion. You are someone that is inspiring. You are someone that is very empathetic to your team's need. I'm not going to call them your employees, because you're one of those people that I don't think you refer to them as your employees. You refer to them as
I work
people that I work with.
Yeah, I work for them at the end of the day.
Yeah,
it is nice to build a team. And going back, teams need frameworks, and they need a way to collaborate and
structure. They need structure.
Yeah.
Structure and discipline.
Totally.
Yeah. And even like for those leaders, and you're one of those leaders that does this, you have self-discipline, which is very hard to do. I would say it took me a very long time to get to where I am at today as far as self-discipline.
And it's funny that, when I asked earlier, what made you get into Agile? And you're saying, well, I needed that structure. I needed that discipline. That's so funny, because there's so many people around me that say, wow, you're so organized. Yeah. How are you so organized? I don't have an option. I have to be organized, or my life is an absolute disaster.
Absolutely. I took off Thanksgiving week from doing anything related to Desperate Radio or Hello Henderson or anything. And because I was not prepared, I should have been prepared. I didn't. 1 week, and I am so behind it. I'm still catching up till today.
Yeah. I get it. But luckily, when you have that framework, you can take a week off and you jump right back into,
Yes. Yeah. It's easy to get back into it. I'm almost caught up right now. So ask me a week ago, I'm drowning.
Yeah.
But ask me today, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna. My episode is out.
Yep.
All I'm missing is my next episode, and so because I'm not recording for the rest of the year. That's it.
That's awesome. What are all your socials? We'll give you a quick shout out.
I on LinkedIn, Hosny Roushdi, HOSNY, and last name is Roushdi, ROUSHDI. Not the easiest name in the world. Funny story behind that one, which I'm not going to get into right now. On Instagram, X, YouTube, it's @DeadSprint Radio. One word.
Hos, thanks for being on the Phelan Focus. We appreciate it.
Yeah, this was such a pleasure. I don't usually get interviewed, so I am sorry that I talk too much. Please
No,
feel free to edit this as
no,
much as you want,
it's
whittle it
good to
down to
hear
as
somebody
little as
who's
you want.
really passionate about what they're up to. So yeah.
Personally, for me, and I try not to get too emotional about this, I was struggling in finding who I am and finding out that I didn't believe in myself. And it took somebody else believing in me and what I'm capable of doing. Practicing what I practice made me believe in myself. It
Yeah.
helped me really believe in myself. There's one episode I did on HBS. There's a few of them that I did on HBS that are very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Just me bearing my soul out when I'm talking about my dad and when my
Mm-hmm.
daughter was born and how things shifted and going through divorce and stuff like that. And I know it's dumb, but using agile practices in my own personal life helped save me, help
Yeah.
me put me on the right track. And it really did help me believe in myself. I am a much better person mentally, socially, emotionally now than I was in my 30s or my 20s. And I'm almost 50.
That's the best thing about some of these things is when you're able to not only make your life better, but other people's lives better because of it.
Yeah. I mean, I apply some of those practicing in my life with my wife, with my kids. So we did some home construction, not construction, home renovation. Just take out some doors and put some other stuff around. We just start. Let's put a Kanban on this. What's our MVP on this?
Yep.
Which one do you want to do first?
Yep.
Okay. Same thing when we moved from California to Nevada. Same thing. What are we packing first?
Yeah.
What are we moving first? Let's prioritize this correctly.
Yeah. When you walk into my house, there's a mirror on the right, and there's basically a color coded sticky note Kanban board, and then they're prioritized vertically. It makes a difference in people's lives just having something as simple as that to collaborate and hold each other accountable and just support each other at the end of the day.
Now we had it on a whiteboard, but like nobody paid attention to my whiteboard. But
Sure.
when they have a digital board that the kids can play with,
Well, it's a little more interactive, and that goes back to like that. Just testing and figuring out ways to get people to be engaged with the process.
Yep. That's exactly. Awesome.